an Oscar prediction special right here on Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, is my very loud co-host. The first second we enter the recording, him moving and going, you just hear, I cannot wait to hear this back, because that's the first thing anyone's going to hear when they press play is Jake banging around his desk, is Jake Holtzclaw.
I have a loud chair. I need a new chair. If anybody wants to donate.
If you could donate to the poor, donate to the needy, Jake, please.
Well, if you have a problem with my loud chair,
yeah, donate.
You know how to fix it.
Donate to the poor. No, it cracks me up because I count down before we start recording. I'm like, 3, 2, 1, I hit record, and immediately Jake is like, let me adjust. It's like moving. But yeah, anyway. Welcome to Beyond the Screen. No, I don't want to do that. I like it in there now. Welcome to Beyond the Screen. We have, as we led in with, our Oscar prediction special, which means, ladies and gentlemen, this is officially the last regular episode of Season 2. This is it. We completely 365 days around the sun. We've done this every Monday, which is crazy. I know.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clapping.
Hope you weren't attached to Season 2.
Yeah, because we're going into 3, baby.
Yeah. All good things come to an end.
Yeah. You should see how much things will change in Season 3. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Again, today we have a lot in store for you. But first, let's go ahead and get through our first segment very quickly. We always start our show with a quick micro segment called What Are We Drinking?, in which we answer the age-old question, what are we drinking? What caffeinated beverage gets us through the episode? To join us, Emily Keller, our director from Behind the Curtain. Join us up front to tell us, what are you drinking?
Thanks for asking, Ryan. This evening I'm drinking an iced matcha with half and half. Jake?
Empty. It was a peach mango prebiotic energy drink. What we got?
How was
180 natural caffeine.
Let's go from 1 to 10. How delicious was it?
Pretty good. More peach than mango, I would say.
Bro's a fraud. He's not drinking. He drank. What did he drink this evening?
What are we drinking, guys?
He drank it already. I am drinking. Bear with me. Be ready for this. Earth-shattering, shocking news. Black tea!
Water. Oh.
Yeah, normal. Oh, I just spilled it all over my desk. That's all right. It's all right. It didn't get on anything important. Oh, and now I'm fuzzy. With that, that is the end of What Are We Drinking? We go ahead and cut us out now. Give me 1 second while I fix my focus, ladies and gentlemen. With that out of the way, we will now enter our first segment in which we go over the box office from this past weekend. But first, let's go over our predictions. Let's see how we did. My predictions were as follow. I predicted Hoppers would finish 1, The Bride would finish 2nd, Goat at 3, Scream 7 at 4, and Wuthering Heights at 5. Jake predicted Hoppers at 1, Scream 7 at 2, The Bride at 3, Goat at 4, and Demon Slayer, the re-release at 5, him taking a Hail Mary at 5th spot. Let's see how we did. I did okay.
Almost worked.
Yeah, almost worked. I got 2 of 5 correct, that being Hoppers at 1 and Wuthering Heights at 5. Everywhere down the middle was almost right, but not. And there's no almost, there's only certains, and so I only got 2 out of 5. This week, Jake got 4 out of 5, only missing 1, and that being, again, Demon Slayer at 5. It wasn't a bad prediction. It did well relative to what they normally do, but again, there's no almost. Jake missed out on that 5 out of 5, but 4 out of 5 is still absolutely fantastic. We do not have just ourselves predicting and making bets on the next week. We also include AI, because in a world where AI grows, why not be inclusive to everything? And that's before it becomes inanimate and has sentience, and so it can be our friend. Thank you, ChatGPT. Anyway, we call him Jimmy. Jimmy makes his predictions every week. We ask him to scour the internet and take his best shot at what the top 5 will be. Let's take a look at what he predicted for this week. He had Hoppers at 1, The Bride at 2, Scream 7 at 3, Protector at 4, which I still can't tell you what that was, and Goat at 5. How did Jimmy do? Not great. He did 1 out of 5, getting Hoppers at number 1, and the rest were out of order. He didn't do that. Like, he was close to what I had predicted, which is not great. But I still did better than he did, and so I'll take the W. With that out of the way, that is what we predicted from last week coming into this week. Let's go back to the top, and let's read 1 through 5, those accurate numbers, and tell you exactly what happened this past weekend. Starting with Hoppers. The box office hits are as follows. Hoppers finishes first, Scream 7 is second, The Bride at 3, Goat at 4, and Wuthering Heights at 5. Going back to the top, Hoppers debuts at $45.3 million domestically and $87.3 million globally on a $150 million budget. Fans are loving the body-swapping family flick with a unanimous 94% across the tomato and popcorn meters. That means critics and audiences alike both said a 94. Do you know how rare that is for them both to be the exact same at any given point in an opening weekend? Needless to say, people are loving Hoppers. And as according to the Daily's newsletter, fans are giving it a 75% definite recommend on post-track. Again, high numbers for Pixar's latest endeavor. This, speaking of Pixar, is the company's best opening since 2017's Coco. If things stand, the film is projected to earn over $500 million worldwide by the time its theatrical run officially ends. Moving on from Hoppers, we'll go on to Scream 7 at number 2 in its second weekend in theaters, earning $17 million domestically and $149.1 million globally thus far. While dropping 73% in ticket sales from last week would normally be a major cause for concern, dropping 50% or more is normal for the horror genre. So we kind of expected this. I think if you come back week after week, you usually will hear us say something like that when we see a horror film do go the 9 and do great in its debut. Usually we'll follow that up with, it'll probably drop 50 or more percent next week. So 73%, not great, but also kind of par for the course for horror films. Again, while a dramatic drop, the film only had a $45 million budget. With this 7th entry into the meta slasher franchise, it now puts the franchise at the $1 billion mark. It is in the $1 billion club, Jake. Scream is in the $1 billion club. More than pulling its weight.
7.
It took 7 films, but the thing is, not many franchises can say they're in the $1 billion club, and Scream can now do that with the likes of Star Wars and Avatar. Probably, to be honest with you, Fast and Furious is probably in the $1 billion club. Jake,
can't make 10 movies without.
Right. While Jake looks that up, we'll continue down our top 5. The Bride finishing third, debuts at $7 million in its opening, with $13.3 million earning globally on a budget of $80 million, which is not great. Officially ending Warner's box office winning debuts, ending after an impressive 10 straight films going to number 1 for Warner. 10 straight films debuted at number 1 in the box office. The Bride officially ends that trend. Maggie Gyllenhaal's film falls well short of expectations, and fans are letting the creator and studio hear their thoughts. After a C+ cinema score and a 59% on the tomato meter, with a 73% on the popcorn meter, so fans are a little bit more forgiving. Most just weren't excited or impressed with this take on Frankenstein. And Jake, I wanted to ask this question. Could this be monster fatigue? Are we seeing a little bit of monster fatigue? Because we had multiple Frankensteins. We've had a werewolf. We have another werewolf from Robert Eggers coming out this upcoming year. Are we having some monster fatigue?
I think it's Frankenstein fatigue.
I
think werewolf will do fine. Well,
sorry, say that one more time.
I think werewolf will be fine. I don't think we have monster fatigue. We just have Frankenstein fatigue. And there's going to be, I thought there was going to be another one, but yeah, we were talking about this many months ago, that we had 2 Frankensteins coming out within the same month.
Yeah. 6-month period or something. Yeah. It was very quick. This one was Maggie Gyllenhaal, and then you had back in December or November.
Was it December? Yeah.
It was very late. 2025 was Guillermo's Frankenstein, which we'll talk a lot about today in our main segment. But yeah, I agree. It probably is more Frankenstein. There's just a lot of vampire, werewolf, Frankenstein's monster movies coming out right now. So I was wanting to ask the question, but I do agree. I don't know if it's necessarily just monsters in general, but I do think that's a good take. So Jake, he did the math. He found the numbers. The Fast and Furious domestic haul thus far is $2 billion. So yes, Fast and Furious is in the $1 billion club. 7.3 is that million or what? Billion internationally.
Billion. Yeah.
7.3 billion internationally, which is crazy. Anywho,
Yeah.
so yes, Fast and Furious is very much in that realm. They've been there for a while, probably. Rounding out our top 5, we have 2 films who've been here for a minute. GOAT, in its 4th weekend, earned 6.4 million domestic and pushes its global tally to 146 million. And Wuthering Heights finishes 5th, also in its 4th week, earning 3.72 million domestic, pushing its global tally to 213.5 million. Looking around the rest of the box office from this past weekend, Crime 101 hangs on to 6 for a second straight week, while Send Help and I Can Only Imagine 2 swap places at 7 and 8. Demon Slayer, the re-release, while Jake had it at 5, was a little bit higher than expectations. It did well still in its what is listed as week 26. People are still going out to seeing this movie, 1.3 to slip into the top 10, which is crazy. Jake is also giving me more information about Fast and Furious as we speak. It took Fast and Furious also 7 movies before it crossed the billion. Is that domestically, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yes, because
yes.
2 something billion domestically, 7.3 internationally. It took 7 films to hit 1 billion domestic, which is crazy that it's hit 1 billion domestic in any sense. With that out of the way, we've gone down the rabbit hole of Fast and Furious while we're reading our box office top 5. We have predictions. Jake, we start with you. What's our predictions looking like, buddy?
Well, I asked ChatGPT, and that's how I got my answers. No. ChatGPT asked me, actually. It's so everything I say is truth and will be correct. Okay. I am the prophet. I control the AI. Right? So I've got Hoppers at 1. Crazy movie out of left field. Never heard of it before. Reminders of Him at 2. It is a Colleen Hoover adaptation. I've got Scream 7 at 3. Another movie I've never heard of, Undertone at 4, and GOAT at 5.
Keep in mind that top 5 he just read, and keep in mind how he phrased it before we get to Jimmy. I want you guys to remember this. I'm going to go through my top 5 really quickly. I also had Hoppers at 1. Shocker, I know, right? Hoppers repeating at 1, a family-friendly film and animation being crazy. Also, Hoppers, crazy bean mouth, man. I don't know if you've seen the clips for that. Every time I see that it was a beaver. Bean mouth all the time. We have a complaint against bean mouth on the show for our new listeners. Bean mouth is awful, and it is so annoying to see everywhere because it takes the originality out of animation. I'm sorry, we'll say it. Bad bean mouth in this movie. Anywho, Hoppers will finish 1 again next week. I had Scream 7 hanging on. I think everything else will slide down with the exception of what I have at 3. I had never heard of Reminders of Him. I am not a Colleen Hoover reader, and I am not one to keep up with her adaptations to film. However, after we talked about it, I do have some worries that Reminders of Him might pop off. There's a chance it might even go 1 if it gets enough traction. But I will hold my predictions. I hold strong. It is written in stone. I'm going to have Scream 7 still at 2, Reminders of Him at 3, The Bride at 4, and then GOAT at 5. So everything else kind of slid down. Scream or Hoppers and Scream 7 for me hold pat, with Reminders of Him being the only new addition. I so badly wanted to put Undertone in there. I've been burned by these horror films before. These A24 horror films. I love them so much and I want them to succeed. I feel like I've gone over this time and time again where I see this unique niche film like a Have Fun or Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. I wanted to be in the top 5 so freaking bad. Knew it wasn't, and I was right with that. So I'm going to stick with this. Undertone will not hit the top 5 if I'm right. Now, we'll go on to Jimmy, and I do think it's funny because we have this joke on here that Jimmy likes to go either 1 of 5 or 5 of 5. He either is completely off or completely on. He is the worst prediction. Oddly enough, he's the worst at predicting out of all of us. The thing is, I think Jimmy got mad at being wrong. Henceforth, why he picked his 5. Jake, unveil Jimmy's picks.
Hoppers at 1, Reminders of Him at 2, Scream 7 at 3, Undertone at 4, and GOAT at 5.
Sound familiar? It should.
Yeah. I don't really know if it knows what what these movies are. Let's see. It puts a lot of weight on Colleen Hoover's readership. With 6 million copies of the novel it was based on sold. Breakout romance. Comparing it to Regretting You, which was okay. It was solid. And it puts it at like 11 million, which beats out Scream 7 if you follow the trend of a drop, the horror percentage drop that we usually see. So Scream 7 dropped 72.8%. If it drops anywhere remotely close to that, and Reminders of Him comes in at what it said, yes, 100%. I think Scream 7 will drop out. And what is Undertone? It's an A24. Reading it. That's about it. It's about, other than Dolby Cinema early access screening. I don't know if that really helps, but I've got it coming in over GOAT, just because I think it could do better than. It's saying GOAT's going to be at 4, but I'm looking at GOAT and I think it could probably be 4. Let me see what.
So this is going back to Reminders of Him. I wanted to, because again, we didn't really know. We didn't come in hyped for this.
It could
movie.
be 3, high 3s.
So It Ends With Us obviously popped off in 2024, made a boatload of money, which opened the door for all these Colleen Hoover adaptations. Regretting You, which was the one that had Mason Thames, McKenna Grace this past year, did not do well. It did very bad, actually. Not received well, did not earn a lot. Not a great film in the grand scheme of things for Colleen Hoover and her adaptations. This is the third take where she's one of 2. So we kind of have, in terms of test numbers, kind of like in terms of like data that we can point at to say what this will do, it is hit or miss. So seeing that, I don't feel as bad putting it at 3, because it really could, with the last one being the one with McKenna Grace and Mason Thames, which was Regretting You, being as bad as it was, this could fall to 3.
Yeah, we'll see. So far, Ryan is the long shot, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess mine would be the one that's like the least likely to happen, but I'm curious to see. I will stand by it. Before we move on past box office, Jake, is there anything in the top 10 or beyond that catches your eye?
Demon Slayer made top 10. Not a lot of theaters picked it up though. That was my problem. Protector made 12. So if you wanted to know what last week's Jimmy said, would be what?
No, 4.
4.
Yeah.
It was 12th. There's a Dolly. No, that is a horror. I thought it was Dolly Parton. Youngblood. That's a hockey movie. Didn't do well. Youngblood at 21. I don't know. What do you see anything, Ryan? I'm not seeing nothing.
Not really, other than the stuff that we've already kind of hit. I do think that we have some interesting numbers in terms of, let me go back to where I was.
How to Make a Killing's at 17 in its 3rd week.
Dropped so far. That film did not do well for A24 and Glenn Powell. Sorry, I'm going through. Zootopia 2 still in the top 15 after 15 weeks is ridiculous to me. It didn't earn $1 million, but it earned $747,000. So still a film that's popping off. It beat Protector, which is what we were talking about. Fire and Ash still in the top 15, although it's down to 13 now, earning $727,000. Yeah, I don't really.
Which it was confirmed was going to have an Avatar 4.
Which is what James Cameron had said. Disney has yet to confirm it, but James Cameron had said that there's more than likely going to be a 4th one. And he, from what I've been reading online, I unsubstantiated, didn't do any deeper research. If the audience likes Varang will have more of a part to play in the franchise moving forward, which is interesting that he's making changes, because apparently this has been written out for however long, a decade now. So it's interesting that we're making changes. But anyway, yeah. Quick Avatar news for you. I look forward to 4. I'm happy to see that we will still get Pandora. But I'm curious. I worry too much about giving, you know what I'm saying? Like being fan service. Like if you change your story too much, it's already, a lot of people already think the story's weak. So if you start making changes that don't make sense just to service fans, I worry about the quality of the story that a lot of people already put into doubt. But other than that's kind of, that's been the box office, and that's been the news surrounding the box office. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we will be getting to our prediction special. The official predictions will be coming right up next. Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 2, which is always our main news segment, and sometimes we do special things like we're doing today, which is our box office predictions, our Oscar predictions. We will say what we think will happen at the Oscars. We will do a little bit of heart searching, soul searching to try to say between what we think should happen versus what we think will happen. We're going to lay the land out a little bit for our predictions. We have the most nominated films. We'll list them out for you so you guys can know what we're dealing with here and what we're looking at. Sinners had 16 nominations. One Battle After Another had 13. Marty Supreme and Frankenstein, as well as Sentimental Value, all had 9. And Hamnet had 8. So, again, the lay of the land for our predictions and the way we have this laid out. We're going to go through 18 of the Oscars. I think it's 24 awards. And we're going to predict the majority of them, or the majority of the Oscars awards, 18 of them, as I said. But the way that we have this laid out is we also have, let's say we're doing, the first one we're going to do is leading role, actor in a leading role. We will also say what award that actor who's nominated for the Oscars had won in other places and use that as a way to help guide us into predicting what the Oscars might lean based upon previous awards ceremonies. So follow along. We will lead you. Don't worry. We'll not lead you astray. With that out of the way, we're also using, by the way, those award ceremonies are the Gothams, the Golden Globes, the PGAs, and the BAFTAs. So we couldn't go through all of them because there's like 15 from November through April, which is insane. A lot of research to do, and we just didn't have the time. So we picked the 4 biggest that we could find, and we're going to use those to help us determine what the Oscar could look like. Jake, are you ready? Okay. Okay. Starting off, we have actor in a leading role, our first category that we're going to be predicting. Those nominees are Timothée Chalamet from Marty Supreme, Leo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke from Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan from Sinners, and Wagner Moura from The Secret Agent. Now, looking again, the tail of the tape, Timothée Chalamet won the Golden Globe Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture, which was for a music or comedy, and Wagner Moura won the Golden Globes Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture for drama. With that out of the way, Jake, what do we think is going to happen with our leading role actor?
I want it to be DiCaprio. I think Timothée did well in Marty Supreme, but man, I couldn't get past it. It was just Timothée with a ping pong paddle and a mustache and a unibrow. I think when I was looking at it, I was just like, because I have seen him play in Dune, and it's felt like I was like, okay, that's Paul,
Right.
and then I watch Marty Supreme, and it's just like, that's just Timothée in a mustache.
The thing is, that's how I feel about anything he's in, really. Like maybe with Paul Atreides and Dune being the one separate, like the one thing that you can point at to say, yes, that's him acting. From Wonka to obviously Marty Supreme to literally every time I see him in something, I think it's just him. Like I cannot separate the person from the character. And I don't know if that's just a me thing, not really liking the actor, but that is my exact critique as well. It's like, I just don't think Timothée Chalamet is like, he's not my favorite actor. I just don't think he really separates himself from the characters. I think he just plays himself in that form or that narcissistic behavior as in Marty Supreme. Not to say Timothée Chalamet is narcissistic, but I think that he's just playing a version of himself that is narcissistic, not playing the character. So anyway, please continue because I completely agree.
And I have unfortunately not seen Blue Moon with Ethan Hawke, so he's up in the running. I have seen Sinners with Michael B. Jordan, and from the rumors, and I say the rumors because I have not confirmed them, is Michael B. Jordan put his freaking soul into that movie, to the point where he learned how to smile with dimples versus not smiling with dimples to play the twins. Which is crazy, right? Like that's a level of detail from an actor that is nuts. So not to say that Timothée or Leonardo didn't put in a lot of work. But I've been hearing from Michael B. Jordan's side that there's a lot of work there. And then I did not see The Secret Agent yet, which I'm not sure if I'm able to get my hands on it. I'm not sure who did that movie, but are you asking for my prediction?
I'm just asking for your thoughts. You could give the prediction whenever you're ready. I'm
sure I'll get way down here and you'll figure out which movie I like the best for best picture and just best overall movie. But I hold One Battle After Another pretty high up there. I watched it on a plane and it was very enjoyable. Do I boiling it down to an actor in a leading role? Leave some dead air on here.
Let's be
I'm
real
thinking
here.
about it.
Let's be
Yeah.
real here. This is a 3-man race. This is between
Yeah.
Timothée Chalamet, DiCaprio, and Jordan. I apologize to Ethan Hawke. I
Unfortunately,
apologize
yeah.
to Mara. It's not. They're there. They're nominated, but that's as far as they're going. It's going to be between those three. So here's the deal. I've seen a lot of people comparing Chalamet to DiCaprio, right? Kind of your upstart young Hollywood actor who had a great filmography by the time he turned 30. The thing is, the Oscars stiffed DiCaprio for a while, right?
Yeah.
They made him wait. A lot of that old guard was still there, and you can still, I'm not for sure exactly who the voters are. I know it's producers. I know it's still some of that Hollywood elite, but they're not the same from 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Do we think that the Oscars or the Academy, will they do the same thing to Chalamet? That's my question. With DiCaprio already having won a Best Actor, Best Leading Role, right? With The Revenant 10 years ago, do we think the Oscars feels like he's already got one?
He has not won an Oscar, right?
Timothée, I don't think so. He's been nominated.
I don't think so. Yeah. So
will the Oscars make him wait? This is the thing too. Again, the Golden Globes, the big news that came out of the Golden Globes was that Chalamet upset Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, for best performance by a male actor in a comedy.
Has Michael B. Jordan won any?
No, I don't think so.
So
Jordan's a little bit older. Jordan's been around a little bit longer than Chalamet.
This is his first nomination.
Yeah, he's not won an Oscar. So with that, I'm ready to make my prediction. I think after talking it through, I'm ready to make my prediction. Again, it's a 3-man race: DiCaprio, Chalamet, Michael B. Jordan. I don't think DiCaprio.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is like, well, is it an older fella who had to fight his way to get an Oscar and he had to do something like The Revenant, right? Wasn't that what he won it for?
2016.
He had to do something like The Revenant to get an Oscar.
Yeah.
And now he's going up against a Timothée Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan. Yeah. And unfortunately, like, I do want to play into like I don't think they'll give it to Michael B. Jordan.
Really? See, I will lead with my heart because, like, again, I always do, and it usually bites me in the butt. However, if it were me and I'm looking at the Golden Globes, the battle for the Golden Globes, which was, again, Jordan and Chalamet, it was a shocker that Chalamet won over Michael B. Jordan. No one's really talked about DiCaprio. They've talked a lot about one battle after another, and they talked, like, all I see is Paul Thomas Anderson, right? Or Sean Penn. I'm ready to make my prediction, and I think if I were, and again, I shouldn't do this, but when I look at all three of them and compare, all of them were great, and literally any of them could win. I'm going Michael B. Jordan.
I got Timothée.
I think Michael B. Jordan, him playing two characters, I think that will give him enough leeway and enough pull. And doing it so well, like you had outlined, I think that could give him enough pull to win it. But it's funny that you went Chalamet. Walk me through that.
For the plain and simple reason, because it's an upset, and the people don't watch the movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
The people who are voting don't watch the movies, and it's like whoever's most popular at the time, whoever's won their graces. That's why they're talking about him talking bad about ballet and the opera will hurt his chances. And I was like, why does that even matter?
It should.
Why does that matter?
But it will.
But
I agree
it
with you.
very
it
much
shouldn't.
does.
Not only will that, Michael. Sorry, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Well, that's why I think, like, I don't think that particular thing matters. That's just me pointing out, like, why are we scared that matters? I don't think it will matter that much, because I don't think there's a lot of, I don't know. I'm talking out of my butt at this point, but I don't think the opera or ballet is really being attended by the individuals voting on the Oscars. I could be completely wrong, though.
We know it's a popularity contest at this point, right?
Yeah.
Not only is it a popularity contest, but also, again, like I said before, they made DiCaprio wait. I can easily see them going, well, Chalamet's new. We shouldn't give him this. And not because they thought he was worse than the others, but because he's so young. That, in my mind, seeing what they did to DiCaprio instantly on top of his comments about ballet and opera immediately makes me think it's between DiCaprio and Jordan. And if I do those two back to back, I think Jordan was better. And listen, One Battle is a perfect movie. It is so good.
Mhm.
Michael B. Jordan was a better actor, better portrayal of his character than DiCaprio was. I'm sorry. Like just my personal opinion. So I'm giving it to Jordan.
Yeah, it is a 3-person race, and it could go to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement that it isn't DiCaprio, 100%. Even though as much as I think he deserved it, I mean, in this 5, like that, I really wonder once we actually do the episode next week, if we don't have like a prediction versus like
Oh, yes.
host favorite, right?
Yes.
I know it's going to be like more people, but like I do generally feel at least for this particular award, I'd like to say that like I've got DiCaprio as like my host favorite. Like it,
Yeah.
like any like car show or bike show, there's going to be like a club favorite. That's not like best of show and it's not best of this class. It's just like usually whoever puts it on has a favorite.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, for this one, I thought DiCaprio was awesome.
For me, I compare this, and I know I do this a lot, but I compare it to sports. Okay, we'll move off this because again, we have 17 more to go, so I'll move off this.
Right.
I compare it to sports because I feel like pop culture media and sports media are one and the same. They're just talking about two different things, right? Especially when in the realm of competition like this. When you award an MVP and most valuable player in all of pro sports, what they want to say, it doesn't always pan out this way, which is what makes this apples to oranges even now, even still. But it should be the most valuable player to not just the league, but to the team, right? A lot of times what ends up happening is it's the best player on the best team, but the most valuable player in name usually means the best player, like the most impactful player to their team in the entire league, right? Who impacted their team the most in the league and did the best in the league, right? Not just the best player on the best team. Michael B. Jordan, when you take when you look at and you look at the body of works that these other films are, especially with One Battle After Another, because again, I think it's between DiCaprio and Jordan, so I'm going to compare those two. Without DiCaprio, yes, that film is nothing, but that film still has Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, right? Tiana Taylor. Great performances across the board. You take out Michael B. Jordan from Sinners, yes, they have just an immense wealth of talent, but there's a significantly deeper drop-off with the storytelling. You know what I'm saying? If Michael B. Jordan wasn't as good, like you could not, I don't want to say you could replace DiCaprio, but you could find somebody else to play that role, like, and feasibly at work. You could not do that with Smoke and Stack, right? You just can't. He did it so well that there is no way to replace him. And that's why I give it to Jordan. That is why. In terms of my mind, in terms of how I see it. No one else can play the Smoke and Stack. Not that DiCaprio is replaceable, but I do think there are other actors, like Jake Gyllenhaal could probably play that character. And I think he would do fine at it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I see it. Anyway, go ahead and move on past our first award. Actor in a supporting role. Those nominees are Benicio del Toro in One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi in Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo in Sinners, Sean Penn in One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård from Sentimental Value. Jake, I will lead off this one because I made you lead off the last one. I think, again, this one's a little bit more full, but I do think it's a strict maybe 3. I think it would probably be 2-man race. I think it's between Sean Penn and Stellan Skarsgård. I think if you're going to add a 3, it's going to be Jacob Elordi because of how well he did in Frankenstein. But I think he's the weakest of those two, right? Delroy Lindo was amazing in Sinners. Benicio del Toro was my favorite aspect of One Battle After Another, but he's not better than Sean Penn. So it's between Sean Penn and Stellan Skarsgård from Sentimental Value. And Jake, you already have your prediction. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but we're on similar wavelengths here, okay, which might spoil it for here in a second. I think it's obvious. I think of these 5, there is one that just stood out that made his film. Exactly what I just said before. You cannot replace this guy in this role with anybody because Sean Penn did such a good job as Lockjaw. There is no one on this planet that could play it like he did and nail it the way he did. So I think this is an obvious, easy win. Mind you, Sean Penn won a BAFTA for Best Supporting Actor. Stellan Skarsgård won the Golden Globe for Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Supporting Role in any motion picture from the Golden Globes. I think it's Sean Penn.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen Sentimental Value, and so that's why I didn't put Stellan in my top 2. And so, but it's why my top 2 was actually Sean Penn versus Elordi. Mm-hmm. Because what you said is Elordi's your third, Well, I have nothing to go off of in terms of sentimental value. I have seen portions of Frankenstein, like looking over the couch while I was building my computer, as mom watched it, and I was like, okay, he's probably going to be in the running, until I watched One Battle After Another, and I was like, this Sean Penn guy is awesome.
Yes.
And so he's my favorite, and he's my prediction to win for those reasons.
It does hurt my soul a little bit to take that from Skarsgård, because I felt like sentimental value is it's about the depth and complexity of family trauma, right? It is one house that's passed through these generations, and there's even a narrator that's kind of depicting the perspective of the house almost. It's very much third person still, and it's talking about like the people that lived within it. But the house is just as much a character that, again, was passed through these generations as the characters that are within, right? So it's a tough watch. It really is. It is very, very emotionally deep. And Skarsgård plays such a good, emotionally flawed, kind of detached dad who wants to kind of get back in the good graces of his children after certain things happen. He's a filmmaker. It is so deep, and I wanted to give it to Skarsgård, but he wasn't better than Sean Penn, man. Again, Lockjaw was crazy. Great character. I don't know. It's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts on supporting role for an actor?
No, I think we've pretty much locked that one in pretty quick. I do love Benicio's performance, though. I will add that, like, he was my comfort character in that movie.
He was the best character in the movie, man. I love Benicio del Toro. Sensei, please. Yeah. Ocean Waves.
And he was just so calm the whole time.
Dude, I feel like I'd seen it everywhere before I even watched it, but him dancing when he at the end, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like that scene made me laugh, and I knew it was coming at some point. I don't know. It's so funny. And he is such a cool character. And that's, again, that one doesn't really hurt my heart as much just because Sean Penn was just better. Like, you can't help that.
Yeah.
But his character was my favorite character within the entire film. Anytime he was on screen, it was just a joy. I also love Benicio del Toro. Him in Wes Anderson's last film, I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head. He was the lead, and he was amazing. I love Benicio del Toro. He just wasn't better than Sean Penn in this instance. Anyway, great point. Thank you for bringing that up, because I would happily give hype to Benicio del Toro. Moving on to actress in a leading role. Those nominees are Jessie Buckley in Hamnet, Rose Byrne in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue, I cannot say this name. Excuse me for this. Renate Rensev from Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone from Begonia. I have some strong feelings about a few of these people. Now, I haven't seen, I hate to break it, me and Jake both, I haven't seen Hamlet, and I didn't see If I Have Legs or Song Sung Blue. So unfortunately, these films just kind of fell out of the wayside. We stuck to the majority of the Best Picture noms. And so there are a few of these one nomination films that we just, due to time constraints, we just couldn't get to them. So If I Had Legs and Song Sung Blue are definitely two of those, and it's just a crime that we couldn't get to Hamnet. But looking around, again, the tail of the tape, Hamnet won a Golden Globe, and specifically Jessie Buckley won Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture Drama and Best Actress in a Leading Role. So she won 2 BAFTAs for Hamnet. And then Rose Byrne won a Golden Globe for her Best Performance by a Female Actor in a motion... Or, sorry, excuse me. Jessie Buckley won a Golden Globe and a BAFTA, and then Rose Byrne won a Golden Globe for Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. So we have 2 award-winning actresses kind of leading the charge here. I have a personal favorite, but I will not be able to go with her. And I know I haven't seen a good hunk of these, so it's whatever, but Renate Rensev was amazing in Sentimental Value. Was absolutely, like, she's the older sister of, you follow this character named Norma, and she is this, again, emotionally flawed. She's a lot like her dad, who's Stellan Skarsgård. So her and her dad have this giant riff. She's an actress, and her dad is a director, but she's an actress for theater. He is like, please move to film so you can make a name for yourself and stop doing century-old plays. And she's like, I don't want to do that, right? So, like, and I'm not going to spoil the ending for those who haven't seen it because it's still kind of new. Her sister is kind of like the voice of reason throughout the majority of it. She, at times, will play, like, devil's advocate or stand up for her dad, even though her dad wasn't there for a lot of their childhood, because she's the older sister who got to see more, right? Like, she was more aware. So her playing that older character, she embodied the older sister, the older sibling, going through a divorce as a kid, right? Helping raise your younger sister, dealing with these traumatic experiences. I really want it to be Renate. I so badly want it to be her, but I don't think it will, just because the conversations around Jessie Buckley and her performance in Hamnet make me believe that this is already signed and sealed. They're just waiting to open that envelope. So I think my prediction, because again, I can't always go with my heart, sadly enough, because I want to be right some of the time. I think Jessie Buckley will win Best Actress in a Leading Role.
I have only seen Begonia. And so without having anything else to go on, it's Jessie Buckley, because I have heard of performance-wise in Hamnet, like she sells it. I just feel like Emma Stone did awesome with that character. I mean, I was sold, at least in that movie. So no doubt in my mind deserves to be in this list. Without having watched the other ones, I can't really say whether or not Emma Stone deserves to win. But given the Golden Globes performance and BAFTAs, and then word of mouth and on the street, I'll give it to Jessie too. That's my prediction. And Ryan. I trust Ryan.
Yeah, I like Emma Stone in Begonia. I won't even lie. I see her on this list. And again, she's one that's talented enough and she did such a good job that sure she deserves to be here. To be honest with you, I never thought about her once. Like I read her name and then she was gone from my, just because the rest of these that like, especially the ones I've seen are so good that it's like, she just doesn't compare. Also, Begonia just wasn't as good as like Sentimental Value. You know, like it just wasn't. So I think maybe that's also playing into it. I don't think it's as much her. I just think it's the film was so much better. But anyway, yeah, I completely agree. Emma Stone did fantastic.
It was so good.
Go
I
ahead.
forgot where I was when I watched it. I have no idea where I watched that movie.
Begonia is a trip. Begonia is a trip.
I remember where I realized, like I was either in a hotel or I was home.
Do you
and
remember,
I don't remember.
Do you remember what you said to me whenever you first watched it and you got through it? What you texted me?
What day was it?
What are you talking about? I don't know. He
What'd I
texted me.
say?
I remember it because it was so funny to me in that moment. Out of nowhere, cold out of the blue, I get ending of Begonia is whack. That's all I got. It was just whack, and it made me laugh because it is absurd. It is pretty absurd. But anyway, it's a fun watch. Go watch Begonia. I love Yorgos Lanthimos, dude. I really do. He's such a good director, man. He's out there. All of his films are kind of like that, though. But anyway. Moving on, our next category is actress in a supporting role. We have Ellie Fanning from Sentimental Value. Hold on to your hats for this name, ladies and gentlemen. Inga Ibsdottir Leos from Sentimental Value. Amy Madigan from Weapons. Another one, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Wunmi Masaku from Sinners. And Tiana Taylor from One Battle After Another. Jake, your turn to lead the charge, my friend. Who do you think is going to go through with Best Actress in a Supporting Role?
I've not seen Sentimental Value. It makes me wonder with 2 on the board, right? I still want to say it was Tiana Taylor. Like I hold her up there because I have seen One Battle After Another, and that performance was insane. And that is my favorite as well. Like even though, what'd you say, Wunmi?
Yeah, Wunmi is how I'm pronouncing it.
That's like my close second. Even though like Amy in Weapons was great, which was Aunt Gladys. She makes my skin crawl, right?
Yeah, creepy.
But I got Tiana Taylor for sure, as my prediction and my favorite.
Yeah,
Ryan?
I have a correction to make because I got my Sentimental Value actors mixed up. Mind you, they're Norwegian, and I just completely got names mixed up with faces, and I apologize. The character that I was discussing for leading role was Norma, was the younger sister. What I just described before for the older sister who whatever, she's the supporting role. I don't know. I apologize. I got them confused. So Norma, again, a very complex, very deep character that still deserves to be where she is. everything I had said about the older sister is in the supporting role. So that's here. So I want to make that out or make that clear. As soon as I got to supporting role and I read the name, I was like, wait a minute, I think I mixed those up. I apologize for that. With that out of the way, she doesn't win this either, and I apologize. Norma, the actor who played Norma, Renate, does not. I still don't change my vote before. I still think Jessie Buckley will win out. With this one, Jake, I actually disagree with you. I love Tiana Taylor. I love Tiana Taylor. She wasn't in it a lot. She was in it for the first 30 minutes of a 3-hour movie. I feel like for me, like I wanted to see more of her character, which we'll come back later with our quick hits segment later about what that could potentially lead to down the line if something happens. But yes, she was super impactful. I felt like there were other side characters in One Battle that could have gotten this tap, this side character supporting role nomination. And I cannot remember the character's name, but it was the friend that came back and got Willow from the dance. I felt like she had she was very impactful as a character, and I would have liked to have seen her in here as well. But what I'm saying is Tiana Taylor and that actress, and I'm sorry I don't have her name off the top of my head, they had about the same level of impact for me. So I don't think Tiana Taylor will win this. I'm going Madigan. I'm going Aunt Gladys because of the cultural phenomenon that was Aunt Gladys. There is going to be a spin-off show highlighting her like upbringing and how she gets to where she is in Weapons from the creator. I think it's Kreger's from Weapons. It is going to be fantastic. And I think that the Academy, they notice stuff like that. And I think that this is one of those things like, yes, I know going back through Wound Me from Sinners won the Gotham Outstanding Supporting Actress Performance and the BAFTA Supporting Actress, and Tiana Taylor won the Golden Globes Best Performance by a Female Actor. I know I'm going against the grain and I'm going against the previous award ceremonies. I think the Oscars could lean the more culturally impactful in the phenomenon that was Aunt Gladys, and it would be a change of pace, which they like to do from time to time. So I'm going to go Amy Madigan. Yes, I'm leading with my heart, and I shouldn't, but I want to see Amy Madigan win that award because I think it's fantastic. It will probably be Tiana Taylor, but I want to say I made an obvious pick. Okay, let me take my shot in the dark. Anywho, we ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
Our next nominations are from casting. Best casting: Hamnet's Nina Gold, Marty Supreme's Jennifer Venditti, One Battle After Another's Cassandra. I cannot pronounce that last name. I'm not even going to try. Then we have casting from The Secret Agent and Sinners. I'm just going to stop reading the names because you can read them on screen. Jake, what do we think which film had the best casting?
One Battle After Another. Lock in.
Oh, very quick.
I think so. I mean, you got banger after banger. Like,
yeah,
The Daughter, DiCaprio. I don't have The Daughter in front of me. Sorry. Sean Penn,
Benicio,
Taylor, sorry, I can't say it unless I read it. Yeah, Tiana,
yeah.
Like I don't know, just one after like Benicio, yeah, all of them. What is it? No, Shayna no, that's. I don't think I can say her name on.
It's okay. Go ahead.
No. Like you know who I'm talking about. The one character from One Battle After Another.
Yes.
I don't know if I can say it. Regina Hall, I believe, is who played Deandra.
Yes.
What else has she done? I feel like she's been in something else. She was Barb in the new SpongeBob movie. I'm not seeing. She was in Shaft in 2019 with MFer Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. I'm going to put a bow on this, Jake, because we can get through this fairly quickly. I think that this is obvious. I think it is One Battle After Another as well. Sinners comes close because Sinners also, I think, is perfectly cast, as we talked about before, with actor in a leading role. It's tight. It's close.
It could be, yeah.
I just think you're right. I think One Battle After Another, just like while Michael B. Jordan, I think, was the best performance of them all. When you look at the surrounding cast, yes, Sinners absolutely has a stacked cast just like One Battle, but I think One Battle just pushes it over the edge just a little bit. It has just
even all the military guys.
Yeah, like they're all insane. There's familiar face after familiar face after familiar face, which you still had that in Sinners, but not to the same level. So I would say, and it's not just that they're familiar faces, it's just that they encapsulate their characters so perfectly. So I agree. We're in unison. One Battle After Another will take best casting we are predicting. Moving along, cinematography. The nominees are Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. You guys sensing a theme here? A lot of the same films back to back to back to back. You're wrong, Jake. Jake filled in one for me. I'm going to start with this one. I will start. This is where, okay, this one category I have a major flaw with. F1 was not in here. F1 was not in here. I promise you, I haven't even seen Marty Supreme. I know, I'm sorry, I couldn't get to it. I watched 7 of the 10 nominations for Best Picture, and Marty Supreme wasn't one of them. I apologize. But it was not as well shot as F1. I can promise you right now. What Joseph Kosinski was able to do with F1, with Brad Pitt and company, was unlike anything else. It should be in here. And if I were awarding, I would give, I think it's better than Train Dreams. I think it's better than One Battle After Another. I think it's better than Frankenstein. All beautiful films. I would have given it to F1 if it were me personally, because I think it was just the best for what it was trying to accomplish and for the way it made me feel, the adrenaline when you're in the cockpit of these Formula One cars was ridiculous, right? Sitting in the theater, none of these films gave me that just based on cinematography. You could strip away the story from F1, which Jake, I think we're going to talk a little bit about it here. You had said you didn't really get behind, and it would still be adrenaline inducing because of how well it was shot. That film is its cinematography, and the fact it's not in Best Cinematography is a crime. The Academy does not know what they're talking about. But alas, it's not, and we're trying to predict what films are in here and what will win. For me, again, I think that they're going to go against the grain. One Battle After Another is the only film from this list that has an award from the awards given that we have that we're using. Again, the BAFTAs, the Golden Globes, the PGAs, and there's one more. Oh no, what was it? Did I already say BAFTAs? The Gotham Awards.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, again, BAFTA's best cinematography is One Battle After Another. Personally, again, I'm leading personally. I think Train Dreams was beautiful. I think Train Dreams, in terms of, again, it is just like F1 in terms of its cinematography is its filmmaking, right? Like, it's not just the story within, it's not just the writing, it's not just the performance. Every shot also tells a story. They have it in a certain, I cannot remember the frame rate they have it right now. But they shot it in a very narrow frame rate because Train Dreams is about a logger. So they wanted the trees in the forest he was logging in the early 1900s to feel taller. Every shot is so well planned out. It is a beautiful film. I'm going Train Dreams.
I'm going One Battle After Another because I just watched a deep dive on it and it convinced me. Just with the cinematography, like literally a deep dive on why One Battle After Another is like peak cinema in terms of like anything we've seen in a little short window. Like in the past year or two, they were saying that like this one is a perfect representation of a lot of different shots that like the fundamentals basically, I guess.
Yeah.
While also having a spin on it and doing its own thing, but also having rules of thirds and leading lines and window within a window, or or
frame within a frame,
frame within a frame, and like it utilized almost every single one of them was one of the points that it made.
Yeah. No, it is gorgeous. Like none of these films are less than per se. I hope I didn't make that feel that way when in my description.
Well, that's just why I've got to put it there. I've not seen Train Dreams, and there were a lot of interesting shots with like Sinners as well. I didn't feel that way with Marty Supreme as much, and I haven't seen Frankenstein, which is why I put it at One Battle After Another.
I think Frankenstein is close. Frankenstein is beautifully shot, but I was more impressed by the costume design and the production, or the production around it, the sets. So wink, wink, coming later. I really feel like, again, One Battle After Another I think it's better than Sinners. So I think it's a 2-film race for me. It's Train Dreams and One Battle. There's something in One Battle where, and I cannot remember the exact lens they had on when they were doing the chase scenes near the end, but it looked so perfect. The rig they had it on the front of this car, it looked so crisp and so clean because you're from a POV of a car driving fast down this winding desert road, that they had to unscrew a screw very lightly so it would jostle, so it wouldn't look like AI, because it looks so pristine. And it's those decisions that allow you to win best cinematography. It's those decisions. which is why, again, what I just outlined with the not frame rate. I think I said frame rate earlier with the aspect ratio of Train Dreams, making it thinner so the image looks taller, the trees look as massive as they were back in the day, and with stuff like that from One Battle, I do think it's those two. It is those two that will come back. Like they'll very tight race, but I'm gonna lean Train Dreams. I think they're gonna shock people a little bit and go Train Dreams.
Okay.
Moving on, costume design. I kind of spoiled what I was going to predict here, but
It's Avatar, right?
Let's go through the nominees anyway. Avatar, Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. I do not understand why Marty Supreme is in so many of these because, like I don't know. I look at this and again, like costume design. Now, maybe not so much this one, but going back, I'm going to keep being angry about that. The fact that Marty Supreme was in Best Cinematography over F1 is ridiculous to me. Anywho, I kind of spoiled it. Put the cart before the horse a little bit on this one. I love Fire and Ash. Fire and Ash is CG. Like it is. What? Why you look at me like that? Sorry.
Yeah.
Did I say something wrong?
No.
Okay, cool. It is all CGI, so I don't necessarily think that's costume, right? Like, does that count as costume? I don't think so. But when you look at the practical effects that went into Frankenstein, I think it's obvious it's an easy choice. There is a no-brainer. What they did to make Jacob Elordi look like Frankenstein's monster was none other than an impressive feat.
Someone had to design the costume for that computer-generated model.
Okay, yes, I understand. And I'm not devaluing the work done, but I just if you ask me which one was better, I'm going to go with the practical one. Like I understand it takes a lot of artistic expression for the CGI artist to make the Na'vi come to life. I am not doubting that in the slightest. I love living in those worlds, which is why I'm happy they're probably making a fourth of the 5 that are planned. However, I'm going to award in my mind, and I think the Academy will too, the practical.
Yeah.
That is real. When you see Jacob Elordi on I about said on stage, but on set, on your screen as Frankenstein's monster, that's all him. That's all him. That's him in real time. That's not a green screen. That's not a suit.
Yeah.
That's real makeup. So I think I will go. And again, Sinners is another one that like I feel like it could be a dark horse for this just because of what went into making those characters, like specifically like those vampiric Irishmen. But I just don't think they beat Frankenstein, man. I just don't. I think this is another one that I feel like is just envelope sealed and signed and ready to go. Like they're just waiting to open it. Frankenstein easy.
Mm-hmm. I have the same thing for all the reasons.
You don't want to dive deeper? You just want to leave it
I haven't seen it. I think
I didn't
that
mean to call you out like that. I'm sorry.
Of the ones I have seen, which is I missed one actually. I've only seen 2 of these 5, Marty Supreme and Sinners. I'm not blown away by period correct attire, and that goes for both of these, unfortunately. But Frankenstein and I know that's somewhat period correct, but like I think Elordi's character alone is what's going to get this across the finish line in first. And I don't disagree. Avatar is kind of like, I don't want to take away like all the work that they did, but there is a level of it being practical is always going to win that, which is why I've got Frankenstein of the ones that stand out, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to. There's like a slight delay for me, so I think you're done. I apologize to keep interrupting. I skipped right over Hamnet. Again, it's another one as well that slipped through the cracks for me. However, even if I've seen the stills, I've seen the clips from this film, even if it wasn't Frankenstein and Frankenstein wasn't here, I'd probably still give it to Hamnet over Avatar. Because again, these are practical effects that take you where like to these worlds in these times, just like Avatar does with CGI. Mm-hmm. Not to take away, but I'm going to award the practical personally. Like if I were the one giving out the award. So no, I happy you brought up Hamnet because even though we didn't see it, we definitely should give it its flowers for what it was able to accomplish.
I'd probably go Sinners at 2.
You think so? I don't know. Both Sinners is still a dark horse, but if I don't know. I need to see Hamnet before I could definitively say, but I was more making the point about the practical effects, but you following me. So we both say Frankenstein will win Best Costume Design. Moving down the line, we're getting to an interesting one. Best Directing. The nominees are Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, Coogler for Sinners, Paul Thomas Anderson sorry. I read something that I
Nice.
shouldn't have. Yeah, I double read. So anyway, Jake, did I lead the last one or did you read the last one?
You read it first because
Okay.
I
Well,
ca-
I
I
already
came in.
spoiled it, so I'm going to go ahead.
Yep.
I think Paul Thomas Anderson is going to dominate this best directing because there's something later we're going to get to that I will point back and say that's why he won best director. But looking at this, I look at the overall body of work with the competition. Again, I haven't seen Hamnet. I haven't seen Marty Supreme. But between One Battle, Sentimental Value, Ryan Coogler with Sinners, I think the one that did the best job is Paul Thomas Anderson. And Paul Thomas Anderson has already won Best Director for the Golden Globes and the BAFTAs up to this point, which is usually, again, when you win those pre-Oscar, like month to 2 month awards, usually it's a good indicator for who's going to win what. I think Ryan Coogler is an easy second. Ryan Coogler is a fantastic director, and he did wonders with this film. I just think One Battle was better.
That's why I've got Ryan at my 1 and Paul Thomas Anderson at 2. I think he'll pull through. It's very close.
Yeah. Oh no, they're
100% very close.
They're like this.
Yeah. It's hard to say Hamnet and Marty and Sentimental Value aren't there, but
it does hurt my heart that Joaquin Trier can't really even get like a sniff of this because he did such a good job with Sentimental Value. Like, I don't want to glaze at these films any more than what we already have. Again, you noticed a trend? The Sinners, One Battle After Another, and Hamnet are like and Marty Supreme, I guess, interchange those two are really kind of your 3 to /4 that we're going to keep going back and forth between. But yeah, it's interesting that we disagree here because I feel like with the way things have gone, for me, this is another one that I think is obvious. I think Paul Thomas Anderson is going to walk away with another award. But I want to pose you this question. What did Ryan Coogler do with Sinners for you that puts him over? Like, what did he do that makes him, in your mind, more deserving than PTA? Because I've seen a lot of people just assume PTA as well. I'd love it to be Ryan Coogler. I'd love to hear your perspective.
It's hard for me to break it down in that sense for any of these categories because I don't necessarily know what they're voting like based on. And that's always like, this was last year. We've only done this one at a time, but like last year, that was my biggest gripe because I hadn't done it before. Nor did I watch probably near as many movies last year, but it was like, how are we ranging best actor, cinematography, directing, film, editing?
Right.
Like, well, editing, I can like quantify because I can see what was done and where it was chosen to cut or place audio or do something in depending on score, all of that. Like I can see that visually and you could probably argue cinematography as well, but like what am I grading the lead actress on or like believability? Okay. Like I don't know. Like I need the quantifiable like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Like I need like a list of things that I'm grading these people on, I guess. So that's why it's hard for me. So with directing, I just feel like that's like the choice I would make. And I don't know how they're going to be choosing director.
No, of course.
But purely off of like the beats and the overall, I guess, storytelling of it, as I was enthralled in Sinners by the story. I want to know more about the I guess the I'm not going to assume what tribe, but like Native Americans that are chasing the vampires. Like I want to know about them. I want to know about the indigenous people who are vampire killers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was living in that story, and I think that's a level of director. It could be writer, right? And it could be argued that it's actors, but I think that director did it for me for Sinners. I was not living in One Battle After Another. I was enjoying, I guess, the story, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's set design. I don't like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for me that quantifiable like and again it's super subjective so that I can't get you like black and white in like numbers, but what I can get you like for me when I look at this I think who got the most out of what they had. So with Paul Thomas Anderson, think about like again, and this applies to Ryan Coogler just as much, if not the same. So they had this stacked cast. They had a lot going on. They had multiple perspectives. They got the most out of every shot. They milked the most out of every talented actor they had on screen. That for me is like how I like when I see this, I'm like, okay, who would I give best directing to? I look at it and I'm like, okay, it's hard to get more out of Leo DiCaprio because he's one of the best to ever have done it, right? Anytime he steps on screen, you know you're going to get a great performance. I still feel like he was pushed to a level that we haven't seen before. Is this his best role he's ever played? No, but it's a new form of him we've not seen, right? We've seen him play the pathetic character before, but not in this sense, not like this fatherly, like this is a unique character he's never played before. And he got pushed in that realm. That was interesting to me, right? And again, when you look at Benicio del Toro, look at Sean Penn, all those, yes, that is the individual performance, but to get that, you had to have a great director. And again, the same can be said about Coogler from all the way down his call sheet, right? His cast sheet. Like, it's the exact same, which is why this is so hard, because both of those did, I feel like, the exact same with each of their casting. The only reason I'm leaning PTA, because you lean the direction of, I felt like I could get in that world more. For me, I'm just like, I'm going to be so for real with you. The fact that Paul Thomas Anderson has won all these awards over Coogler makes me think that the Oscars will lean that route as well. I wouldn't personally give one over the other because I think they both did such an equal job. Both will go down in cinema history. The cultural impact that Ryan Coogler has made telling that story and bringing people like you had described into that culture, right? Into these cultures. Fantastic job. I just think that the Academy will look at the look around and say, oh, PTA won the Golden Globe for Best Director and a BAFTA for Best Director, and that's just a few of the things that he's been recognized for. As on a personal level, over Coogler, we'll give it to him. Because, again, they don't watch the movies, so. But, yeah, that is my quantifiable how I go about it. But that's just me. That might not be how the Academy does it. But, anywho, I still love Ryan Coogler as a pick, and I think that you could very well be right. Again, with how I'm perceiving this, Joaquin Trier is, again, someone that I just, with sentimental value because he got so much. He did so much. Ellie Fanning, again, like we talked about her a little bit earlier with the supporting character. Oh my gosh. Like everyone in that film was just great. That is a that's like a film student film that like you'll be assigned to watch that. If you're 15 right now and you're looking to go to college, in 3 years you will be watching Sentimental Value because it's told like that. It is a very artsy film. Very well done. And so I feel like Joaquin Trier got the most out of his characters, just like PTA and just like Coogler, but it's going to go to one of the other two. You know what I mean? Anyway, I picked Paul Thomas Anderson and Jake picked Ryan Coogler. I'm excited to see who wins that battle because that is the two that it is between, and I'm excited that we picked the opposites. The next category is for film editing. F1 with Marty Supreme, followed by One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. Jake, take us away.
I've got F1. I think that this film is going to win the post-production of the Oscars. I think outside of like I'm talking about like sound design, editing. I was listening for music, which it doesn't look like it's in the running for original score, spoiler, but which I don't think it's in, not an original song either, which it didn't have many, but like I think F1 holds the editing side over Sinners, over Marty Supreme, over One Battle After Another. I just think it was properly put together in a way that like I'm chomping at the bit, you know, like I need to get to the next scene. I need to see what's next. So that's all I really got to say. Like I watched it and learned from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, everything in me wanted to go One Battle After Another again, just because, again, that of the awards before the Oscars we took, the only one to win a best editing was the BAFTAs by way of, or One Battle After Another by way of the BAFTAs, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to go One Battle. However, I agree with you simply because, and mine's more spiteful, it should have been in cinematography. They're going to make up for their non-call in cinematography by giving them editing. That is the way they're going to make up for it, which is ridiculous to me because, again, F1 should be in best cinematography over Marty Supreme. I'll fight that all day long. I don't even have to see Marty Supreme. I know. Here, having seen almost all of these films, the best like, again, the cinematography makes F1, and again, you have to edit that film. So F1 being in here, I think F1 was the most visually, not, I don't want to say visually stunning. I don't want to say it like that, but it was the one that carried the most for its story, right? Like, sentimental value, Sinners, One Battle After Another, their story was great already on top of great cinematography. F1 wasn't as strong with story, but its visuals carried it. So exactly, and everything on top of everything else you said, F1 is the best editing job of all of these. So I will agree, F1. We both unanimously say Apple will get an Oscar, which I never thought I'd say ever in my life. Moving on, we're at music, Jake. For best original score, we have Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. So, Jake, who do we think will win best original score?
Sinners. I think that's a given, right? I don't know. And it's going to be an upset for the next category because we're going to do original song, at least for me, because this is recency bias for me on the next one. But for Sinners wise, like, I think that everything about the scores in Sinners was insane.
Yeah, I agree.
Gold-breaking.
Again, we're both unanimous. We're both going Sinners. I think that this is where they will try to make up for Sinners losing out in other places, because Sinners, again, it was a culturally significant film. It is such an impactful story, and where it might not be able to pull out in front of other places, its music was insane. That is another thing, is like what the cinematography does for F1 is what the music does for Sinners, and Sinners was already a great movie without it. So I agree. Sinners is by far and away the best score. And I mean, none of these really even compare. Begonia had some interesting tracks, and it helps set in that unsettling mood, but it's not better. Like, the thing is, I don't know. It's haven't seen Hamnet, Frankenstein. Again, I don't remember the score from Frankenstein, if that tells you anything. Like, like, I don't know. Like, it didn't stand out to me. Everything else did. Whereas when I think of One Battle After Another or Sinners, I do think of their scores. Specifically Sinner, less One Battle. So I think this is obvious. This is another one of those that I think is just, again, signed, sealed, ready to go. You kind of gave us a little hint moving forward. We're still with music. We're going to go best original song, and those nominees are Dear Me from Diane Warren, Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters, I Lied to You from Sinners, Sweet Dreams of Joy from Vivi Verde, and Train Dreams from Train Dreams. So you have an interesting prediction, Jake. And I'm struggling.
Recency bias.
Before we unveil
I watched it last night.
Before we unveil that, this is a two-way street right here. This is it's obviously they're the rest of them. I'm sure they're great.
I want it to be the other one, but it's so dang catchy.
Yeah, I know. So it's Golden and I Lied to You. Golden and I Lied to You. So again, what I just said about Sinners.
I should listen to I Lied to You like right now.
Yes. No, it is like that. Again, of the music, we just talked about how important the music was to Sinners. I Lied to You is the anthem for a great score. So here's the deal. This is the competition, okay? Will the Oscars award a cinematic achievement in terms of music and scores? Because I Lied to You is great for the cinema and is a great song. K-Pop Demon Hunters and Golden was a culturally significant. It went viral. I mean, it top 100, top 5 in the radio for however many weeks in a row, right? I Lied to You didn't do that. So will they award the music side and the pop culture side of K-Pop Demon Hunters, or will they award the cinema that added, or I should say, what I Lied to You added to cinema with Sinners, right? Now, Jake, now that we've laid...
I just listened to I Lied to You.
And
I honestly, I think it's catchy, and that's why I got to go with Golden. Like,
yeah, Jake's
I don't know.
Golden.
And that's recency. That's me saying a pop song is going to beat out something like I Lied to You. Even though like it's up there for me, I think there is a level. I think they'll go with the cultural phenomenon, and I think there's enough younger, I guess, individuals voting on this now too.
Yeah.
And I don't even think like the older, or like what you said, the I don't know, the ancestors, or you said it a little bit nicer than I did, but I think even they can agree that like that song is very catchy.
Yeah. I agree. Simply put, the Golden Globes gave Golden Best Original Song in a Motion Picture. I want it to be I Lied to You because
Yeah.
I don't dislike Golden. I again as someone who likes cinema more than I like music,
Or pop.
or pop music, yeah.
Yeah.
I want I Lied to You as a cinematic experience. What it did for the story, being taken, like the first time you hear that when you're being taken into that realm in that part of the film, which again, I don't want to, I know it's almost a year old, but I don't want to spoil everything. It added so much to the story. Whereas K-pop, whereas Golden, okay, you heard it in the first 15 minutes. Like they played it very early. And that and what I do love about Golden is that like the whole point of Golden is it's unifying their fans to create a barrier essentially to forever hide away the demons in hell, essentially, is how I'll phrase it, just to put it very simply. I love that it in reality unified people. It actually did that in reality. Like, how cool is that? Very rarely. I can't remember a song, a movie, maybe the Avengers, maybe Endgame did something like that, where it unified people just like the characters were unifying in the film. But Golden literally did what the characters wanted it to do in the movie, in reality, which is so cool, which is probably why it'll end up getting it.
Yeah.
But Golden didn't necessarily progress the story. It was just an additional element of the movie. I Lied to You progressed the movie. Like it is an actual storytelling technique, not just, So I want it to be I Lied to You, but it won't be. It'll be Golden. It just will be.
I'm going from this plain simple fact of like best original song for a motion picture. Like I am not into pop much, if at all. And I'm like, that's a good song.
It's
like
catchy.
That's a song that unfortunately I would be playing in the radio and they're gonna be like, why is that grown man listening to this?
All the music in Demon Hunters is great. Like, let's get that out of the way. Like
right.
Musically, it is a fantastic film. We're not taking away from what it was able to accomplish. I want the film, the cinematic song to win a Film Awards Best Original Song, right? That's what I want. But
if it boils down to best song, it's Golden.
They're going to go Golden. Yeah. I'm being very persnickety.
With music, like you know as well as anybody else, or probably more so, that like music makes you feel something. And like when I just listened to both of them while I'm sitting here, just open up Spotify and listen to both of them. Golden like makes you like feel like oh yeah, like feel it and gives you the shivers. Like there's not many songs that'll do that.
Yeah.
And even though like I Lied to You's got the voice, it's just I think Golden is far better. And we spent a lot of time talking about this particular one, but I think it's because music is such an integral part in people's lives. I think it's very important that we hash it out. I want to
give, this is the last thing I just want to give the performers of Golden, because you're right. Like, you're right. I want to give them so it's EJ, Aubrey Nuna, and Ray Ami are the three actual voice actors behind not just the characters, I'm pretty sure, but also specifically they sang the song Golden. They're the real life people. They will win. They have won an Oscar. Like, again, I know we've done 2 or 3 in a row where it's signed and sealed. I agree. Golden is the winner. I just, again, I'm being persnickety. I would like to say that the song that helped progress a cinematic element of a film won a cinema tailored award ceremony, but I understand. You're right. Everything you're saying is right. And I want to give them credit. So Golden will win Best Original Song in a movie. Moving on, our next category is production design. Again, this is another cart before the horse. I talked about it earlier. Your nominees are Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners, with Frankenstein winning BAFTA's Production Design or Best Production Design Award. Do we even really have to say it? Me and Jake are in unison. Frankenstein will win Best Production Design. I looked through this and I just don't. Again, we've not seen Hamnet, and I apologize to all our Hamnet lovers out there who are probably mad at us that we're not picking Hamnet for these. I'm not going to say. The more I see Marty Supreme in these, why is it in competition with some of these that I have seen? You know what I'm saying? Like.
Well, I mean, they got to have top 5, right? They have to pick something.
This is just crazy to me because it's like, I don't know. Or you could pick a film, again, that actually filmed on a racetrack. Like I don't know. Like, maybe that's not production design in its finest, but I don't know. It is just, I'm kind of blown away with where some of these Marty Supreme ones are because it's obvious that they just shouldn't be
Mhm.
here. Like it
Yeah.
really is obvious. But
I thought, I mean, One Battle After Another is up there. Sinners is up there.
I would say
Um,
Sinners is second. I would say it goes Frankenstein then Sinners.
I've seen like I said, portions of Frankenstein. I want to go back to like that singular scene of the court case. That is one that that's about the one that I've seen the longest portion
Mhm.
of this movie, and that one knocked my socks off.
Oh, the boat at the beginning, like
Yeah,
the
I mean, I've
whole
seen the stills of that, right?
yes,
But like of those
everything.
two, like that's why I'm putting Frankenstein at one, and I can't
Yeah.
even really speak to why One Battle After Another or Sinners would beat each other out for second and third. I know Frankenstein won, and I'll put my foot down on that one.
Yeah, and you talk about earlier about Ryan Coogler putting you like you felt like you were in that world. For me, that is Benicio. That is
Mhm.
Guillermo del Toro. Like that's what he does. Like from Pacific Rim to even his stop motion projects like Pinocchio, which won Best Animated Feature a number of years ago, to now Frankenstein and everywhere in between. Right? He always does that. His production design is of another level. And I just think that there is no competition here. I think you're right. Like no need to waste time. It's Frankenstein. It is the best of all of them, which is again that travel or that traversing to another world that he's able to get you to do. That's why he won costume design too for us, and why he probably will
Yeah.
in real life. So we'll leave it there. We'll go ahead and move on to our next category. But production design should go to Frankenstein. Anyway, this one is the most ambiguous for me, and I'm excited to talk about this category because I can see what you predicted, Jake, and I would love to get your opinion. Best sound. The nominees are F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and a film neither of us have seen called Surat. Now, F1 has won the BAFTA's Best Sound Award. Jake,
Mhm.
you're going with the BAFTAs.
I
Tell
do.
me why.
Yeah. It's part of that post-production talk that I like, and this is like even more recent than K-pop. Like I watched F1 at my desk today, and going off of, because I mean I'm doing other stuff. I'm not just watching a movie at work. Like I'm working as I'm like watching and listening. And so I would argue that like I didn't get the cinematography that probably Ryan got because I wasn't glued to it. But what I did have was the editing of from what I saw when I did look down and what I heard, and I heard a lot. I heard enough, and I think F1 beats out. I mean, One Battle After Another and Sinners. I've not seen Frankenstein or Surat, but that's why I think F1's at one. Like I felt in every single place that they put me in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you're in a um, pit lane, when you're in pit lane, like they captured pit lane, at least what I think it would sound. I've never been down on the track like that before, but like I would assume that that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Uh, People yelling, air guns going off, or if there were people in the pits, fans, cars going off in the distance, people talking on their headsets. Like there's so much going on down on pit road, and you hear that
Yeah.
100%. And then not to mention in the car, not to mention
Oh my
in
gosh. Yes.
this facility of just state of the art uh, robotics and car testing facility. Like F1 by all means sound um, made me live in it. I knew exactly where I was just off of where I was listening.
See, and you just convinced me to put. I think I was going to go F1 either way, but you describing that did convince me to finally go in. I will say, like you want to say Sinners because of the music, but it's the music. It's not really the sound was great, but it's the music that takes you there. So you're not going to award Sinners for best sound because it's not what we're awarding. Frankenstein, again, good sound, but I don't remember the sound like that. I remember the visuals. So I think they're going to think the same. Frankenstein's not going to win it. One Battle, its sound is phenomenal. Like
Mhm.
it's one of the I think more underrated elements of it as a film is it is very like you feel we talk about that world transporting, right? When they were whether they were in at some point they're in a like a church with nuns, right? The sound design for that open space was crazy, right? There's times where you see Leo DiCaprio crawling through a tunnel underground. the sound, like, I think these are things that are underrated for what all One Battle is. It has fantastic sound design. There's a part where there's a riot because there's military coup essentially in a small city, and I think it wasn't Colorado, but I think it was in Colorado maybe. Regardless,
Going through
this
Sensei's compound was
yes,
crazy to
the
hear.
sound design of all of these areas was immaculate. So I want, like, when I say ambiguous, I was going into this because I had no idea and I was having a tough time between F1 and One Battle. But you describing and you making your points really is you're right in that it is better. Like, again, where One Battle After Another dominates the story when it compares to F1. F1 is so good with its editing, with its cinematography, and its sound. You're right. So F1 should win best sound. I agree. Moving along. Our next category is visual effects. Those nominees are Avatar Fire and Ash, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. I don't think this one is again, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because I think this one's obvious. This is where Avatar should be. They should not be in costume design. They should be in visual effects because their costumes are visual effects, and this is where I'm happy to see them. I'm shocked. This is one that I'm shocked Frankenstein's not, because this is another one. Their visual effects for Frankenstein was pretty good.
Yeah.
But
But
regardless,
what about the Lost Bus?
yeah, I don't know. I have no opinion on Lost Bus. Didn't see Lost Bus, so I think it's just there because they needed a fifth movie. I'm gonna be so
Well, they
for
could have
real.
put Frankenstein in there.
Too many. We've used and abused Frankenstein as a nominee too many times. We'll put it somewhere else. I'm shocked it's not here for VFX.
Yeah.
But again, Avatar won BAFTA's Special Visual Effects Award. I think it's obvious. We don't have to spend too much time here. Do you have any thoughts before we move on?
I do not. I've already pre-written the next one.
I see that. Moving on, best writing for an adapted screenplay. Those nominees are Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. I think this is another one we can go on without spending way too much time discussing, because it's One Battle After Another. I don't, of these films, this just comes down to which was the best film, right? Like this isn't us saying. We might be making we will be making a prediction later, but this isn't us making our prediction for best film, but this is us when you're looking at the writing. It's what was the best story. I love Train Dreams, but it wasn't better than One Battle. And One Battle was I know for a fact better than Hamnet. I know I've seen both Begonia and Frankenstein. It was better than them both. Obviously should be Paul Thomas Anderson and One Battle After Another. By the way, this would mean that he has won both. We're not talking about just the film. The writing would have won PTA an Oscar, a Golden Globe, and a BAFTA alone, just from our research. So he's won a lot for his writing on this. And up next, again, one that we do not have to spend a lot of time on because it's obvious. You're noticing in our last one there was a missing film because it's in this next one. Best writing for an original screenplay. Those nominees are Blue Moon, It Was Just an Accident, Mighty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. And the answer is the BAFTA's original screenplay winner. It's Sinners. It's obvious. There is no competition here. Sinners is just the best movie of these five. Again, it hurts me that Joachim Trier, I was reading the next writer's name, and Eskil Vogt couldn't also have won something because Sentimental Value is such a beautiful film, and it's so well written. It is so good. But Joachim Trier and Eskil Vogt, just fall victim to a better film, and that's Sinners. Sinners, Ryan Coogler wrote it. One of the, again, we talked about it at length. We're going to stop glazing it, but obviously the best of these five.
Agreed. Not to mention It Was Just an Accident winning several.
Oh, yes. I did. I completely glossed over that. Written by Jafar Panahi, the film has won the Gotham Best Director, the Best International Feature, and Best Original Screenplay. So it cleaned at the Gotham Awards. Great job by Jafar, but again, sadly, when you take a look at this, I don't think there's enough international flair in this. And I'm not just talking about in this five, but when you also look at the Academy, they're not looking at films like that. So sadly, it won't get the look it probably should. We haven't seen it, but the fact that it won as many awards as it did means we probably should see it someday. But no, they're gonna. This is another one. Sinners. Definitely gonna. Ryan Coogler is gonna win an Oscar for best original screenplay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finally made it to the 2 categories you've been waiting this whole time for. So thank you so much for being here for almost an hour of us predicting. We've made it to Best Animated Feature Film. Those nominees are Arco, Elio, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie or the Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. For those who are watching on YouTube, you'll notice there's a percentage out beside these films. That is the Rotten Tomato meter score. So we're not just taking in what they won at the biggest award ceremonies leading up to the Oscars, but we're also taking into account what critics responded to these films with, what their overall ratings were on Rotten Tomatoes. So Arco is at 92, Elio's at 83, which is crazy to me. K-Pop Demon Hunters is at 92, Little Amelie is at 98, and Zootopia 2 is at 91. Jake, let's just be so for real. This is a 2-film race. This is between Zootopia 2 and K-Pop Demon Hunters. You've written in an answer, and I want to know why. Hit me with it.
I was not blown away by the animation of K-Pop Demon Hunters.
Really?
Personally. No.
That's shocking.
Like maybe not the character design. Like I was not, I don't know. I enjoyed their like faces and whatever, but like I was watching as they sang, and their characters didn't like go back and watch it. It's kind of odd when they sing. Their characters don't look like they're singing. They are moving their mouths like they're mouthing the words, but it really looks like they're talking at a normal volume when the song is not necessarily matching that. Like the song is much louder or looks like you should be enunciating or moving your mouth differently. But I mean, it was like visually, I don't know. I've got to give it to Zootopia because I enjoy, I guess, their overall scene or set design in terms of like animated and overall story. I mean, this is not just like how it's animated. This is just overall best animated feature, which is why I've got to give it to Zootopia 2 for like the story as well. So both the animation, the story, and the characters, I guess. So
I so badly want it to be K-pop because it'd be different, right? Like I didn't notice that. Now,
that's another thing.
Mind you, I will say I felt like it was supposed to be more reminiscent of a music video where if you're watching a music video by your favorite band, they're not actually singing either. Like they're singing, but like they're not going as hard as they normally would because it's meant to be fluid and it's meant to be like cool, right? So like I felt like that was what the vibe they were going for. Like yes, they're performing live on the movie, but like I felt like that was what they were wanting to project in the animation was less real performance, more music video like so they could have more play with the creativity. That's how I took that. But like I also didn't feel that way. Like I don't know, like that's my reasoning for why you felt that way, less for why you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't notice it like that when I first watched it, but you saying that that makes me feel like think why they did that, made that creative choice. I want K-Pop Demon Hunters because like again, it's an original story, it is super unique. And it is very culturally impactful. We talked about it, and I hate to keep using that as like a reason, and it's not just because we think one film's better than the other, because if that were the case, I'd have no problem going K-pop, right? Because I feel like it is the best film of all of these. The problem is
the people voting on it.
It's been proven they don't really watch, and they're easily swayed, right? Like let's be
that.
real.
I mean, this is outside of their realm.
It's
I mean,
a popularity contest.
I mean, have we? I would argue that this is not just an animated feature film. This is bordering anime. I mean, is it not Korean?
It was made by Sony and sold to Netflix. So I don't think it was made by the same creative team that made Beyond the Spider-Verse or like the Spider-Verse films, which is why I was when you said that what you said about the animation, I was like, oh, because I know what you mean. You were more critiquing the music side, but I like.
Well, I've seen like I saw some oddities in the animation. That I was like, I didn't understand why it looked the way it did. But I won't disagree that it's awesome, like the Spider-Verse. I'm also thinking that it's far too experimental in this realm that the Academy would go for it, which is what like it's borders too close to an anime than it does Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse doesn't get that close to me. Like when I watched this, I was like, okay, this is closer to what we see coming out of Korea and Japan.
Yeah. And it's so
which that's on purpose.
old. It's so old at this point. When did and I say old, like Zootopia, this is the point I was getting at. Zootopia is very recent. It's the Disney
Mhm.
bias, and it just released. So there's a recency bias there. But K-pop Demon Hunters released what month? It released in June. It released last summer. So it's old. So I wonder if the recency bias with the Disney effect, I think it will. I hate to do this. I really do. I'm going Zootopia too. I hate, again, I want it to be K-pop Demon Hunter so bad. But it's going to be Zootopia 2 just because of that bias and the recency. But anyway, any final thoughts on animated feature?
Do not.
Finally, we have made it to 18 of 18, our last category, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big one. We've put it at the end because we knew you'd want to see it last. You ready, Jake?
I'm ready.
Best Picture. Those nominees are Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. 1 through 10, there they are, again, with their Rotten Tomatoes scores. Begonia's at 88, F1's at 82, Frankenstein's at 85, Hamnet 86, Marty Supreme is a 93, One Battle is 94, The Secret Agent is a 98, Sentimental Value is a 96, Sinners is a 97, and Train Dreams is a 94. Tail of the tape, looking around how these films have done at other award ceremonies. Hamnet has won a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture of a Drama, while One Battle After Another, stick with me, folks, there's a lot here. One Battle After Another has won the Golden Globe for Best Picture for a musical or comedy, the Gotham Awards Best Picture, and the PGA's, which is the Producers Guild, Daryl F. Zanuck Award for Outstanding Producer of a Theatrical Motion Picture, and a BAFTA for Best Film. So it's won literally all 4 of the other award ceremonies that we use to kind of decide or show or give us kind of a point to where it will go. It won all 4 of those. And The Secret Agent won a Best Motion Picture for a non-English language film at the Golden Globes, which is interesting that it didn't go to Sentimental Value because Sentimental Value it's spoken in Norwegian, except for Ellie Fanning, who speaks English, and Skarsgård speaks English a little bit too, but mostly Norwegian. So that went to The Secret Agent. I'm going to go first, Jake, because I know I've made you go first the last couple of times. This is a hard one because this is the one where it feels like there's an obvious one, and this is the one where the most curveballs are thrown. This is the one that the Academy likes to say, and then like throw a little bit of jab. If it's not One Battle, it's not going to be Sinners. I'm going to put that out there. They're not going to give Sinners Best Picture. They just won't. Whether it's a horror or whether there's other nefarious means, you guys fill in the blanks. I'm not gonna say them here. Yeah. But I just don't think they're gonna give Sinners, which is a crime. Because Sinners should be, if not One Battle.
That's the one I had it.
Yeah.
I was like, my pick, it was Sinners gonna be second.
Yes, it should be, but they're just not because they don't want to pick the best film. They want to throw a curveball, right? So that's why I look at this and I think if it's not going to be one of those two, I think it might be Sentimental Value. And I almost want to throw the curveball. I almost want to say it'll be something other than, because I've had to avoid Sentimental Value and Joachim Trier this entire time. I have adored this film. The problem is, I don't think they're going to do that this year. I think because, remember, last year it was Anora, and Anora was a shocker. Sean Baker cleaned house and no one expected it, right, with Neon. I think they're going to say, okay, we made people freak out last year. Let's go with the obvious. I think One Battle After Another is just the best film. Like, I hate to be obviously. But yeah, I just think it's better than Secret Agent. I think it's better than Sentimental Value and Sinners and Train Dreams and Frankenstein. Really, it's a 3-film race if we're really looking at it. One Battle, Sinners, and Sentimental Value, right? If you want to put Train Dreams in there at 4, sure you can. But as much as I was moved by Train Dreams, it's just not better. So I'm going to go, I think they're going to stick par for the course. One Battle After Another will be your best picture at the 2026 Oscars.
Yeah. I think with the way, unfortunately, politics are going, like, I think that's a very hot movement and then, like, what they're trying to say. That's why I think it's going to win over others. If you had to make any other argument against it, I'd say yes, but what was the movie about? Right?
Yeah. What's fascinating about One Battle is that it really was like the two I guess, one protagonist, one antagonist, right? Like, and technically neither one of these are that, but they're two sides of the same coin. The French 75 and the Christmas Adventurers Club are just they are the opposite extremes, right?
Yeah.
That is what they are. There you have a revolutionary and essentially, spoiler, the KKK. Like that is what we have right here is the opposite sides. But what's interesting is they're both back ends and kind of the shadowy corners of your average everyday political party.
Yeah.
So it is fascinating to see them go back and forth. And again, at what you're saying and how it connects to modern day with the Epstein files and all that's said and done and what's going on in real life right now, right? Like obviously that is a hyperbolized, very, very fictionalized version of events, but it's fascinating to see how that fiction still hits a pressing button of modern day and how it is like it's crazy that they're so similar but so far apart. It's fun. It is very fun. And so I think to prove your point, yes, I think you're exactly right.
My choice is one battle after another, by the way.
Oh yeah. We were unified. Dude, there's the thing is the problem is those three that I said, that 3-man race, it's really a 2-man race, but I wanted to throw sentimental value. I want
It should
them all.
I want Sinners up there. Like
Yeah,
I want to hear them say Sinners so bad.
Wouldn't
just
that be
because,
crazy?
Yeah.
And the thing is, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, they deserve that. They did such a good job. The advancements that they made in just the storytelling realm, like Coogler did something no one has ever done before. A unique way of telling stories. In a society now, we have progressed so much into storytelling that the prevalent idea is that there's all the stories that we could ever tell as a human race have been told, and we're just going to be retelling the same ones over and over again. Coogler found a way to make one unique and one interesting.
Yeah.
How fascinating. And so,
right.
yeah, I would love that for the same reason. It would be fantastic. It'd be a great moment in cinema history if Sinners were to win, but it won't. Sadly enough.
Right.
Any final thoughts on, ladies and gentlemen, that's been our box office predictions, by the way. We finally made it an hour, or box office. Sorry, Oscars predictions. See, this is why we do predictions back to back. This
is why he has a co-host.
So used to saying, so used to saying box office. That's been our Oscar predictions. An hour and 10 minutes later, Jake, we finally make it through all 18 categories we gave, what we thought and why. We're going to keep track. So stick with us. Next Sunday, or this upcoming Sunday, the Oscars air on ABC. Turn it on your TV, mute that volume, and listen to us on YouTube as we live stream a watch-along live stream again. We're going to talk it through. We're going to compare our predictions to what actually happens. We're going to be there the whole time to talk about what's happening and when, and to give our thoughts as normal. So if you like our voices, please, please, please come back. But anyway, with that out of the way, we're going to get out of segment 2. We're going to give you a quick expedited segment 3 right after the break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 3, which is always what you should know before you go. I have 6 quick headlines that you might want to know about, but we're going to do this very quickly. I'm going to read through 1 through 6, and then Jake's going to give me his thoughts, and then we're going to let you guys go because we're already over time that we want a lot every week for you guys so that we can make this more user-friendly, right? With that out of the way, thank you so much for being here. Like, subscribe, follow, share, the whole 9, because literally everything you do, from viewing to sharing to all of it, it does so much for us. Follow us on all of our social medias, beyondthescreen.podcast, because we love seeing you guys there as well. We love getting your comments. We love getting your opinions. Talk to us, because we love hearing your guys' voice. We love interacting with y'all. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. In any other news and any other way, let's get into what you should know before you go. Lamorne Morris will voice Garfield in Paramount Plus's animated reboot. You might know Lamorne Morris as one of the leads in New Girl. Aang the Last Airbender has officially wrapped filming. DreamWorks has officially announced a sequel to The Wild Robot titled The Wild Robot Escapes. Netflix has officially bought Ben Affleck's AI filmmaking startup company named Interpositive. According to actress Tiana Taylor in an interview with IndieWire, She has had preliminary, discussions with director Paul Thomas Anderson about a sequel to One Battle After Another, centered around her character, Perfidia. And lastly, if the Warner Brothers and Paramount merger completes, Paramount Plus and HBO Max will combine into one giant streamer. Dun dun dun! Enter villainy sound effect. Jake, what you think? Yeah, no! Yeah.
My subscription to HBO Max.
Yeah, what do we
Dang
know
it.
about what we talked about before the episode? That Spider-Man soundbite from the '90s cartoon where it's like MJ's fading away and he's like, "No!" Like yells really loud. That's us right now if this goes through. But anywho, give us your thoughts.
You lost your purse on a roof that's different from this one? Yes.
Yes, yes. Old Spider-Man 2 video game on the PS2.
I'm looking through here. Dude, if they take away my HBO subscription because I have it through AT&T, I would be so mad. I would be so mad, dude. I better get something else. I better get like Apple TV or something. I better get something of equal value. Oh, I'm actually worried about that. Anyway, moving on.
Again, that's great for the consumers, right? That'll lower prices, right? That'll make it more affordable and raise competition, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can't say that the same thing. I'm be worried about Netflix doing it too.
I'm arguing it shouldn't happen to anybody. The Warner should just be Warner. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, I mean, when you acquire, I mean, it's obvious. Like you're gonna have to merge it. Like I'm not gonna say as a businessman that I'm gonna be like, let's keep them separate. Let's give different you know. Like I own them. I
Let's
own
double
them.
our
Like,
operating cost.
Yeah, like why would I run two apps, two separate teams, managing apps, like two separate things that like offer different shows and movies and whatnot. Like it's a no-brainer to merge them. I just hate that like either or, it doesn't matter. Netflix was gonna merge or Paramount Plus is gonna merge. Like it's not, that's just a smart thing to do. I just hate that like I'm in a boat that it's, I mean, given to me through a phone plan and I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Now, I hope that doesn't go away, but that's just why I care the most.
How am I going to watch The Pit? Which you should watch, by the way. Great show.
How am I not going to watch The Pit?
Anyway, go through quickly.
Preliminary discussions about a sequel. I think we kind of need to know what that lady been up to because that's a crazy character to
went
not
to Mexico and
vanish, never heard from again. And I'm like,
not necessarily
what?
she was heard from again, but
she was at the very end. But like, how can you take a character like that, put him in Mexico, and say there was nothing ever heard from Mexico? I was like, that lady's blowing stuff up somewhere. Yeah. You can't tell me different.
It bothered me because I kept thinking she was going to come back. And she never did. Like, I was expecting to see her at some point, and she just never did. And so when we got to that point where it was like what she
a setup for a sequel, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm not shocked by this. I worry that One Battle is perfect as a singular.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
I don't think this is gonna break any records or win many awards unless it's in very good hands.
What are you going to call that? Another battle after another? Like, come on.
After another battle.
Another battle after another battle after another battle. It's just add another battle after every sequel. Yeah.
The war after the battle.
The battle after another. I don't know. Anyway. One last thing.
One last thing.
I'm excited for Lamorne Morris. Paramount Plus is Garfield. I think that's going to be I think that's a great casting, and everyone who knows him as an actor is excited.
I don't know. I prefer Chris Pratt.
Said no one ever.
Or Bill Murray.
No, Bill Murray, he hated it, but because he hated it was actually perfect. Like his disdain for the role gave Garfield that nonchalant, I could care less about everything sound that he should have, which was ironic as all heck that he hated it. Anyway, Bill Murray being angry Bill Murray is the reason why he did Garfield so well.
Take
But
note when you're casting, everybody. If you ever
Yeah.
get the opportunity to choose an actor or an actress, make sure that whatever you're casting for, they feel the exact same way.
yeah, they better be a terrible person if they're playing a terrible
Yeah.
person,
Like
or
Tiana Taylor and DiCaprio, like they better have a disdain for
is
the government.
tough. That there's so much more to that than just their disdain for the government. There's a lot there to unpack, and I'm gonna end the show after that. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys on Sunday for the live stream. Ooh. Bye bye.